Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you here on this Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday, where the topic today is body transformation and really being able to rebuild your metabolism after potentially weeks, months, or years of devastating dieting on the body. So what this topic really is meant to do, and it is by popular request, is to allow people to be able to eat more food and more calories without gaining all the weight back. And one of the biggest issues that I've seen is this, and I would even add this as a big part of today's show. It's actually learning how to lose weight in a healthy way by actually eating more. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but we're going to go through why that is actually scientifically proven that in order to be able to lose weight and continue to lose weight, if you have the weight to lose, of course, only want to lose the unneeded weight, is that you actually need to stoke the metabolism. And it is scientifically proven that the less you eat and continue to eat, that the lower your metabolic rate becomes. So essentially what happens is this: you eat less calories to lose weight. Your body loses weight until it doesn't. It hits a plateau where your body says, I am no longer going to lose any weight because I am now putting myself into a starvation-based mode. I'm essentially going to drop what's called a resting metabolic rate or basal metabolic rate. That's the minimum calories that your body needs per day in order to survive. And you're going to stop future weight loss. That means you're going to change your leptin and ghrelin levels, your adiponectin levels, which I've talked about on previous shows. And if you've not heard about your fat-burning hormones, I'm going to link that up today at stephencabral.com/1979. That'll be another nice show to listen to right after this to learn about adiponectin and to also learn about leptin and ghrelin, the hunger hormones. So, the problem is this. We see a lot of people in our practice that have struggled for years to get well, maybe decades. The same with to lose weight. And they've tried all sorts of different up and down based diets. And, we even hear people coming off of lately keto or coming off of carnivore, and they say, I've plateaued and now I'm actually starting to gain weight, or I don't have any energy, I have no ambition, I have no drive, I have lower libido. And the truth is, and unfortunately, it's a lot more in women than it is with men. Men seem to do a whole lot better with if they're doing one meal a day, which again, I'm not advocating for, but they seem to do better with longer fasting. They do better with lower carbohydrates. Their bodies are more adaptive to that. For women, we see wild fluctuations with thyroid hormone, with cortisol levels plummeting in the morning and then elevating at night. We see big cravings at night in a lot of women as well. And also with estrogen dominance, which means lower levels of progesterone causing potentially infertility or dysregulated menstrual cycles, or the feelings of lower mood, irritability, water retention, weight gain, and many more. So my goal is to look at this from a clinical perspective, not this is what people are doing. They're just eating less carbs. And I say, listen, there's a time and place for everything. Going on a lower carb diet does work. It's worked forever. But the problem is, if you go on a low carb diet without any knowledge of what you're going to do or foresight 6 weeks from now, 12 weeks from now, 6 months from now, what happens is you end up burning out your metabolism. And that's what we see in our clinical practice. And I'm trying to save you from hopefully not getting to that point. And if you are, okay, well, let's rebuild it back up. Again, a lot of people, they go on a keto-based diet. They say, I used to eat 2,500 calories a day. Now I only need to eat 1,300 or 1,400 calories a day. I'm not hungry and I feel fine. Well, the problem is you've literally, if you've plateaued weight loss wise and you're at the weight for you, you've dropped your metabolic rate by about 40%. That's not a good thing. You don't want to exclaim, listen, I don't need to eat as much food anymore to maintain the same weight. Because when everything's said and done, you actually want a very robust metabolism. You want to be able to eat 2,000 calories a day and not gain weight. right? I mean, you want to be able to eat more food, more nourishment. It doesn't mean that you have to, but it's a sign of a strong, healthy metabolism. Whenever you can get by on less calories, it means that you've lowered your metabolic rate. It can only mean that because your metabolic rate is your baseline. So basically, you're dealing with resting metabolic rate. Let's call it basal metabolic rate. Okay. So let's say your basal metabolic rate for the day is 1,300 calories. Okay. Not uncommon, 1,300 calories. That's your basal metabolic rate. And now based on your activity level, okay, we're going to add another factor of, let's say 300 or 400 calories on that. Okay. So now every single day, you need to eat somewhere around 1,600 to 1,700 calories to maintain your current weight, right? That's your factored in metabolic rate, okay, for the day. So what do we look at from there? All right, well, if this person then goes down to eat just at their basal metabolic rate without taking into consideration their activity level, well, this person should lose a half a pound or so per week to maybe a pound per week. You might look at that and you say, okay, but if we continue to lower that and say, well, okay, now they've plateaued at right around, they can only eat 1,400 calories without gaining any more weight back, then what do we need to do? Well, a lot of people in the Body Transformations Fair would say, okay, either drop your carbs to below 25 grams per day, or you need to lower your calories even more. So next thing you know, the person's eating 1,000 calories a day and then only 800 calories a day. The problem is, again, unless you're in your 20s, you're not going to be able to compensate because by now you're going to lead to massive nutrient deficiencies. So I actually talked about some of those yesterday. So over time, if you're only eating 800 calories per day, there's just no way that you're going to be able to get in the level of micronutrients. I'm not talking about macros. I'm talking about micronutrients. The level of vitamins and minerals and omega-3s and fatty acids and amino acids that your body really needs. It's almost physiologically impossible in order to be able to only take in 800 calories. Now, you could say, well, I'm going to take these nutritional supplements and I'm going to do this. Yes, that would fortify it, but you have to ask yourself, are you still getting all the fiber you need? Are you getting all of the 7 to 9 cups of fruits and vegetables for all the brightly colored nutrients that your body needs? Because it's still, to this day, the only proven diet that we know to prevent cancer is brightly colored fruits and vegetables with lots of flavonols. Now, we'll talk about today how you can get the majority of those from low-calorie, nutrient-dense foods. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to eat more food. You want to be able to raise the amount of calories that you can eat per day in order to help you lose more weight if you're down to 1,000 or 1,200 calories, or to be able to not gain the weight, okay? So 2 types of people this is good for. The first one is someone that's really lowered the metabolic rate and they're down below 1,200, 1,400 calories a day. We need to get you back up. The other person that this is good for is being able to improve their carbohydrate tolerance, right? Their insulin sensitivity, but also being able to ramp up the amount of calories that they can eat as well and still lose weight, or be able to lose weight and still eat the same amount of food. All right. So let's go over this right now. Really, really important. This is about metabolic rate. This is not just about weight loss. This is about overall health. If you improve your metabolic rate, most likely you're improving your thyroid, your circulation, your overall testosterone levels, your overall estrogen to progesterone, and so many other factors in your body. And it also probably means that your B vitamin levels are where they should be, your vitamin C, your vitamin D, and so on and so forth. So why this is so important. All right. I've done a couple previous shows with this. If this is new to you, I want to be able to add more context to it. I did a previous show that we'll link up today at stephencabral.com/1979. And that is today's show. All the 3 big takeaways will be there as well. And that will be on how to transition off a low carb diet. So if you've been doing carnivore or keto or low carb for a long time, how to safely transition to add carbs back into your diet. And then I'm also going to add one show called How Not to Detox after a detox that will allow you to keep your all of your benefits and gains in terms of, it might be weight loss, it might be inflammation, it might be hormones after doing a 21-day functional medicine detox. All right. So this is the goal. Let's be able to eat more and not gain the weight back and even continue to lose weight. So first and foremost, what we need to do is start here. We need to add more lower calorie, but nutrient dense foods. Because here's what will happen. Okay, you might say, all of this sounds good. I'm going to start eating more calories today. Well, the problem is if you start eating more calories today and more carbohydrates today, you're going to gain the weight back. There's no doubt about it. Your body, your metabolism isn't ready for that, right? But we need to actually shift it back in the other direction because it's been damaged. We need to actually make that move to repair it. So what we need to do is this. We need to really improve those micronutrient stores. I've talked about this before. It's the phytonutrients. It's the flavonols in brightly colored fruits and vegetables. A couple outliers would be things like cauliflower. It's a white colored food, but still very nutrient dense. So here's what we want to do. Nutrient dense foods are going to be typically pretty high in fiber. We're going to look for a lot of cruciferous vegetables. We're going to look at broccoli. We're going to look at cauliflower. We're going to look at Brussels sprouts. We're going to look at bok choy. All of those can be fantastic. Microgreens can be fantastic. So we want to add a lot of those back in. Now, they're very low calorie. People are always like, oh, well, I have to watch my carbs. I understand in the beginning you will. But we're going to help you to be able to eat more carbohydrates today and in the future and realize that carbs are not the enemy. But let's take, about 1.5 cups of broccoli. It really depends on, again, the density of just the heads of the broccoli, is it the roots of the broccoli. But about 1.5 cups of broccoli, it's only 50 calories. All right, we're going to be talking about 50 calories more per day throughout the show. 50 calories more. Easy. 1.5 cups of broccoli, nutrient dense, lots of fiber. You're going to get about almost 4 grams of fiber. There's 10 grams of carbs, 10 grams of healthy carbs, almost no fat, about 0.5 grams of fat. And you're actually, believe it or not, in 1.5 cups of broccoli, you're going to get a strong 4 grams to 5 grams of protein. So that's not bad either. So that's a food that's very thermogenic. It's going to take a little while to break down. Of course, I do recommend cooking your cruciferous vegetables, as well as you're going to be able to make sure that your blood sugar doesn't spike with that type of food, right? Because we're going to be helping to rebuild those healthy insulin responses. So you want to add back in a food like that. Now, let's say that you're adding in these nutrient-dense foods. We'll be talking about this. The other food that you can look at besides a low calorie carbohydrate that's high in fiber is also protein. So you can add in a healthy protein, such as one of my favorite is hemp hearts, if you're following more of a vegan or plant-based diet. Or you might add in your favorite fish, wild caught ideally, or pastured-based chicken, eggs, or grass-fed based meat. All of those would be fine, but again, you're only looking at adding in under 100 calories per day from that, because many people that I'm speaking to on the show might be at around 1,500 calories per day. That's all they're able to eat. So what do? Well, we can only add in a small amount. So we do have to be cognizant of that. So we're talking about just a few more, literally like the size of your palm and about the thinness of your palm. That's it. No more than 100 calories of that protein. And so I would say 15 to 20 grams of extra protein, not extra fat. But again, this has to be lean. And the reason is the fat's going to carry additional calories. I'm not saying calories are bad. I'm not saying fat's bad. I'm just trying to help people from a clinical perspective to be able to get more calories in without gaining all the weight back. And you have to be diligent about this. So you want a lean protein of whatever it is that you decide to eat. And again, 50 to 100 calories a day. Another great one that's almost 0 calories, I mean, it's very, very low, is green juices. Okay, I'm not talking about fruit juice. Talking about vegetable juice. If you wanted to get a lot of nutrition back into your body, but you didn't want all the calories, you can get green juices that are celery-based, cucumber-based, and they have a lot of the other greens in there. That can be absolutely fantastic to get more micronutrients in your body, because remember, one of the reasons why people's metabolism are low and they're not able to burn all the fat and they're not able to and their bodies are telling them to store more fat is because they're so low in calories and so low in micronutrients. Get the micronutrients up and you'll be doing great. Of course, one thing that I do recommend that's, again, a full day's worth is less expensive than one fresh pressed green juice is the Daily Foundational Protocol Level 2 or Level 3, which is what I do over at Equalife. So that's all of your vitamins, all your minerals with the daily nutritional support, 15 grams of protein. The Daily Fruit and Vegetable Blend is 22 organic fruits and vegetables, already juiced, blended for you. and dehydrated, of course, your omega-3s, your daily probiotic support. You don't have to do that, but it is going to make sure that those nutrients are taken care of. You can also always use your favorite brand. But these are things that you should do in order to stoke the metabolism, especially as you're getting your calories up. All right, next step. What's the next step? People have vilified fruit now for a little too long, and I'm trying to be the big brother and the advocate for fruits. So, fruit is one of the normal human foods that humans should be eating. You can make an argument that humans should be eating fruit maybe more than anything else. Now, people will debate that because they'll say, oh, it spikes blood sugar, it does this, it does that. It does, taken out of its natural form. It does when mixed with hydrogenated oils, a super high-fat protein diet, protein diet, like all these different things. Now, I'm not advocating eating 20 bananas per day, but I am advocating a couple of cups of fruit per day. However, if you're eating zero fruit right now, don't do that. We need to work up to that. But fruit has a massive amount of antioxidants that squelch free radicals and have been proven to help prevent cancer. Okay, so again, there's no guarantees in life, but you at least want to, get as many of these things on your side as possible. So start with berries and only berries. Okay, now you can eat kiwi. There's a few other fruits that are low glycemic, but the easiest way to remember, because I want to give you actionable takeaways, start with berries, blueberries, or blackberries, or raspberries, or cherries. Those are all fantastic. Strawberries are hard to get, organic and clean, but if you can, those would be doable as well. Really like the smaller ones, more skin the better on these, literally. So wild blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cherries, try to buy them organic since they are sprayed. All right, so if we do that, we're still at less than basically 25 carbs. So that's great. We can add those in and no more than 100 calories for the day because we can only add in one new variable. So remember, and I want to make sure that I stated this, follow the same diet that you're doing that is allowing you not to gain the weight or currently lose the weight. But we're just going to add in 100 more calories maximum, 50 to 100, especially if you're sensitive. You might do 50 just once per day. It's your only new variable, okay? You might do it at breakfast. You might do it at lunch. I'm going to talk about towards the end of the show why I recommend doing it at lunch. All right, so this is really important because it can be your only new variable because we need to test this. And the last way I want to add is this. Okay, so this is the last part that we get to, is that we are going to focus on, let's say that you're a little low on carbs, or you're a little low on fat, or you're a little low on protein. We actually allow our private wellness clients to choose whatever it is that they would like to add more of. They want to add more avocado. Okay, that's a healthy fat, even though it's a fruit, it's a fat, right? They want to add more protein because they feel like they're not getting up more protein. They feel they're a little bit more catabolic. Fine. They want to add more carbs because they want a little bit more energy for their workouts. Great. So we can even add, again, like that cup of berries that we're talking about, or a cup of berries to the smoothie they might not be doing before. Good. So here's what I want you to do though. You figure out your calories per day and you only add one variable to that. And again, it's 50 to 100 calories maximum of any of the groups that you would like. I just try to steer people more towards the brightly colored fruits and vegetables because typically that's what's devoid when you start to go on more of a keto-based diet or a low-carb diet or maybe a carnivore-based diet. So I just want to steer people back to more of a moderate-based diet. Again, I have a podcast called The Foundation of All Diets. It's really the best research out there. Of course, I've just taken it from all around the world on what I see to be for people living the longest, healthiest lives. So this really amounts to, though, really no more than 1 cup of your carbohydrate, your fibrous veggies, your 1 cup of fruit. It might be as little as 1/3, honestly, of an avocado, or 1/2 of a teaspoon of a healthy fat like olive oil. And I know that seems kind of strange and not enough, and that's why I don't like using fat as the calorie source. And the reason is that it's calories are simply about 120 calories per tablespoon. And avocados, which is obviously water-based, there's water in that. That's why you can eat more of it. But if you condense it down, it'd still be the same. It's 9 calories per gram, where protein and carbs are 4 calories per gram. And then with protein, you can eat about 15 to 20 extra grams per day. So that's kind of nice, and that will absolutely keep you satiated. So I believe I have a podcast on cravings coming up next week on that. So you'll want to check that out as well on how to curb cravings. So the reason why, and I want to end with this, the reason why I said lunch might be the best time to add in these extra 50 calories, especially if it's carbohydrate based, is so that you're feeling more satiated, that you feel like you got enough in those carbs if you're adding the carbs in, which is what I recommend, because you want to make sure that your body becomes carbohydrate sensitive. We always talk about becoming fat adapted. Okay, great, sure. We want to burn body fat, but we also need to be able to handle carbohydrates. So I recommend adding small amounts of carbohydrates back in, no more than 50 calories per day of these carbs, so 100 calories maximum. Make sure that if you're weighing yourself or just kind of looking at how your clothes fit, that it doesn't move for that week. And if it starts to move by 0.2, because it's about a 350 calorie surplus for the week, okay, then you're just going to stay right there. You're going to make sure you don't gain more that next week. You're going to allow your body to adjust to that. And then once it adjusts, you can add what? Another 50 calories per day for that week. So when you look at it that way, and again, it's not all at one meal. It's for the week, you can do that on a daily basis to get your body a little bit more carb sensitive to be able to actually use these foods. And if it's just about calories, you just want to up your calories, of course, you can do it with fat, you can do it with protein, you can do it with carbs as well. So I have much more to say about this in the future, but again, try to add them at either breakfast or lunch. You'll burn more of them off throughout the rest of the day. Digestion is also strongest at lunch as well, so you can be able to burn through that and digest it to a greater degree as well. So I would love to take your questions. Certainly going to do follow-up shows on this as well. I'm going to link up previous shows if you need more context to this show at stephencabral.com/1979. That is my time today. Thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow with another Cabral concept. Hopefully you do tune in. Take care. Have an amazing day. Really appreciate you tuning into the show today. And as a valued listener, I want to make sure that you know over at Equilife, we are giving away 500 bottles this week of our gluten and dairy support. This is one of our most popular enzymes, especially this time of the year, where you might be eating a little bit extra gluten or a little bit of dairy on those flex meals or cheat meals, and you want an enzyme that's going to help you break down those foods to a greater degree so that you get less or none of the bloating, gas, or distension that might come along with eating those foods. Plus, this is the perfect enzyme to help you digest beans and other plant-based proteins, since there's an extra enzyme in there called xylanase. This is the product you are looking for outdoor barbecues, fun with friends, or maybe some outdoor cheats, or again, if you've been sneaking a little bit more gluten and dairy into your diet. It's the perfect enzyme to pair with the daily digestive enzyme and can add that much more support when you're eating beans, plant-based proteins, dairy, or gluten. Take advantage of this complimentary offer, your free bottle while supplies last, over at equa.life with qualifying orders. Head on over to equi.life for your free bottle of gluten and dairy support.